Hi everybody, welcome back to the workshop. Today we've got in a Singer 6104. Nice little machine from Singer's. This one, it's Italian made in Monza. Not sure what year, probably around about 1980, so it's 45 years old. We've got, let me just adjust the camera a bit. Okay, so a note from the customer saying smell of burning last time it was used. Machine hasn't been used for a while and she would like to get sewing again. Right, I've checked the fuse in the plug, and that fuse is a 3 amp fuse, that's fine. Plug her in, turn it on. Oh, that's interesting, look, the machine's starting up on its own. I'm not pushing the foot control because it's up on the table. So what we'll do, we'll turn that off and unplug it, because I don't know if you can see that, but that is smoking and it stinks. So what we've got in here is a capacitor gone, which is common on these older machines. It has a radio interference suppressor in it, the capacitor, which back in the old days when you used to watch the TV and Mum was at the table sewing, if it didn't have a interference suppressor, every time she started the sewing machine up, it would give you wavy lines on the screen, and that suppressor was to stop that. Now with a modern television and radio, it's all digital, it doesn't need a suppressor. So hopefully you can see this here nice and close up. If it was smelly vision, you'd be able to smell it. Absolutely stinks. And it's this capacitor here, which is a 0.1 microfarad capacitor, and it's purely there to act as a suppression for interference. So all you've got to do, if it ever happens, you can tell when it happens, the machine starts running on its own. There's 2 little tails here which we're going to cut out. I won't touch it yet because it's hot, because it's burnt. You can see it's popped on the side. So all I've done, I've cut the capacitor out. We'll put the screw back in. And that's a quick fix. It happens quite a lot with the older machines. Hopefully it happens when I'm working on the machine, and then I can fix it. The worst thing is if it goes back to the customer and then happens, I get a phone call saying since I've serviced it, it's gone wrong. There's no rhyme or reason for when they go, they just go. But it won't go again because we've taken it out and it's not in there anymore. So that can go in the bin. Turn the machine on, plug it in. And now the machine's not running on its own unless I push the foot control. So that's the first problem sorted. I might just blow out, try and get rid of that smell. It is a real horrible burning smell, which is all too common. That's all good. So what we're going to do, we're going to give the machine a service. They're quite easy to service, these machines. First thing to do is take the top off. It's just 2 flathead screws. There and there. Top just lifts off. Another flathead screw on the side. It's just at the bottom near the front. There's no covers, so you can see all the screws on this. That takes that off. We'll take the presser foot off. the needle up. We'll take the needle plate off. We'll take the bobbin case out. And then I shall check the timing, so I'm going to put it onto a wide zigzag stitch. And I'm just going to watch where the needle comes down and up to make sure that the hook goes across the top of the eye of the needle just before on the left hand side. Quite a lot of fluff in here. I shan't take this plate off, there's no need. We'll strip down the tension unit. That's working properly. This is releasing when the presser foot's lifted up and down. So we'll pull the numbers off, unscrew this, take the beehive spring off, the number indicator flange, the discs and the spring. Take all them off. We can clean up behind there. When I reassemble them, I'll show you which order they go in. That's there. Flip it onto its back, and so we can take out the screws that are holding the base on. There's only 4 screws, flathead screws. These 2 screws at the bottom here are slightly different from the ones up the top. Just remember which ones go where. These 2 bottom ones are countersunk. It fits into this little countersink there. And then the 2 at the front are flatheads. So there's no countersink for them. Plus they're longer at the bottom than they are at the top. I'm sure if you're taking it apart you'll make a note of all that. And we take the bottom off. Pretty gunky in there. Give it a little blow, get rid of that. And then one more screw underneath. Let's take this off. This is where you find all your thread, all your fluff, everything that's making it. It's not so very nice. Gives you bad stitches. Gets in these gears, which doesn't do the gears any good. All I do with this, blow them out. I'll give them another blow a bit later on. Get some oil into there. We'll take the side cover off, check the tension belts. There's only one belt on these. That one in there. It's just this belt here is a little bit, I don't know, it's about right actually. That's all good. I'm happy with that. So we'll just loosen off this screw here. Need a smaller screwdriver for that one. Just loosen. Cool, that's tight. Oh, that's it. Loosen that one off. Loosen this wheel off. And we can slide this hand wheel off and just get some oil. I'm just getting some oil in behind it, just there, just enough to make that spin and not turn the main shaft. Can actually plug it in and just run it. There we go. So that's nice. That's nice. Not too tight. And then put another drop of oil just around top of the main shaft at the end. Pop this back on. There's 2 ways this can go. I took it off in that position where this little knobbly bit is at the top. Do that there, tighten this screw up. This screw just stops it undoing, and then it should run now. If you tighten that up, it runs the machine. Well, that's that done. Okay, so that's all good. This is all working. The thing that goes on these machines is this dial here. It's got little plastic parts, teeth on it, on the back of it, and they snap off if you turn it and force it. This one feels okay. I have got a few of these, so I can change them, but I'd rather not. And this actually just pulls out this centerpiece. This is your reverse button on here. Yeah, nice little machine. Put some oil on the reverse mechanism up here. That's good. And then we'll start to get some on the main working bit. So first thing we'll do is do the main shaft, both ends. So what I'm oiling is where the shaft turns and the frame of the machine doesn't. So again, it's just where everything rubs. Just watch for everything moving. A few drops of oil, not too much. So this here creates the zigzag stitch. This turns. The cam pushes this, which is joined to the needle bar, moves it left and right. That's all good. So it's a simple machine. This one, all it does is straight stitch, which is no width. So although that's turning, this isn't moving now, because it's only when you attach the width it engages. And this part here always goes the same amount, but because of this device here, this magnifies the width of the zigzag. So if it's halfway up, this isn't moving as far as if it's all the way up, and that's what enables you to do a wide or a narrow zigzag. Very simple. It's all there to see. If something goes wrong, you can just look at it, work it out, see what's causing it, and then we start to put some oil this end. Not too much, because you don't want to get it on your sewing. And while I'm doing this, I'm just checking for any thread that's wrapped around any of the mechanism. I had one yesterday, it was proper wrapped up. I had to strip the whole thing down just to get the thread out. The trouble with doing thread in these joints, just in here, you get thread around there sometimes. It makes the machine really slow and stiff. I'm just gently working a little bit of oil into all the joints. Another one. Now, I can't show you where I'm oiling everywhere because I just can't get the camera in there. That is running nice. That's pretty much everything there that moves. I'm just going to run some oil down the gear. There's a gear here which attaches to the main shaft and which turns this. So I'm dripping oil on here and it will run down the gear and onto the main shaft that's holding that in place. Just lubricate that. As I said before, it's a very simple machine. You've got straight stitch here, zigzag there. That's your stitch length. Obviously from 0 is the fabric stands still. As to 4 it goes further distance between stitches. And then if we go all the way round, I think it's this way round, so that this yellow piece is on this arrow, it does the stretch stitches. So that means it's working this thing here. So this thing, there's another cam on another gear underneath here which engages and moves the direction of the feed dogs. So every couple of stitches, or every 3 stitches, it does 1 reverse. And that's when that's on yellow. Very important on these machines not to force anything, because this is very fragile, it's only plastic. So now I'll put it onto normal stitching. This isn't moving until you press that reverse, and then it'll do a reverse. So that's that one. Now we're going to do the same at the bottom. I will actually put this onto stretch stitch so I can oil the bottom. You can see everything moving then. So you'll see this here, which is your reverse mechanism. That will, every few stitches, that will just flip, which is doing now. So it's just pulsing, which turns this, which turns that, which then changes the direction of the feed dog, which then moves the fabric the other direction. Now most of the working parts are under here. A nice smooth machine actually. I'm just going to, we'll tighten these screws up as well on the gears. Sometimes they come loose. What it does, it puts the timing out, makes it move in the fabric at the wrong time. It just causes a bad, either bad stitch or no stitch. All nice though, sewing nicely. This will sew really nice when I thread it up. I can just tell by the way it's running. It's very smooth. And the main problem with this one was that foot control capacitor. Right, so I'm just going to tighten these up. It's always fun trying to find the right fastener for these. Sometimes it's not metric. Yeah, these are imperials. There's 3/32 these screws. A little bit loose, not too bad. I'm just gonna nip them up. And that one's very loose. There's only one on there, so make sure that's nice and tight. These are tight as well, because if they slip, the whole thing goes out of time. And I'm going to end up having it back pretty quickly. Just check all of these gears are tight. This is the hook gears. This is what makes the hook arrive at the needle at the right point. Yeah, really nice smooth machine. I like this machine. Put these Allen keys back. It's lovely. So that's all pretty much oiled and running nice. There, so blow this out. I've got some, gets blocked a little hole in my oiling can. Bit of grease on this as well, which is still wet. It's not dried up, the grease, so we'll leave that in place. These gears have got grease on. Nice. Okay, so that's it all oiled at the bottom. Put this cover back on. And putting it all back is exactly the opposite of taking it apart. So No surprises. Make sure it all sits straight. And we've got the bottom. Just give it a bit of a clean in here. It hasn't got any fluff in there, it's just dirty, but this bottom's easier to clean when it's off rather than once I've put it back on. Lovely. Right, this is cooled down now, but you can actually see it's swelled inside. It's cracked. You can't see that, but I can feel it. It's cracked. So yeah, totally gone. Absolutely stinks. Throw that in the bin. Put these 4 screws back. Like I said, the countersink ones, which are those 2 long ones, go in the bottom. 2 flat-headed ones go in the top. Just nip this up. Okay, that's those 4 screws put up. You can put the side panel back. Again, that's just one screw holds that in place. Power back in. And then we'll put the side on. So if you do it in the reverse order to what you originally took it apart. Only really one way this will go. Trouble lining this up. Well, the screw goes into this stud here, so maybe I need to into place like that. Make sure that that hole lines up with the stud. And then screw that in. Right, still not lining up. What I'm doing wrong. Doesn't seem to want to go in there. needed a bigger screwdriver, I think, and a bit of pushing. It's on there secure now. And finally, put the top on. What I didn't do, I'm going to oil this bobbin winder ring. Just there. And just there. Not too much on there. That should be nice and loose now, which it is. Pop this back. Tighten up the 2 screws on top. Blow the fluff out. Done. Okay, we can concentrate on this part now, which is the hook area. Tighten that handle back up again so we can turn it. Now I'm going to change the needle for a new one. Always like to have a nice fresh needle. And then we're just going to clean this bobbin case up, check for any damage. It's pretty clean. Just find a bobbin. This is a little accessory box that comes with the machine. So the first thing to do, thread, put some white thread on the bobbin. Turn that around, push that across, loosen that. It's winding nice and evenly. I won't put too much on. Just going to adjust this slightly. Push that in a fraction so it won't overfill the bobbin. When it gets to that full, that'll push that away from and stop it threading anymore. Probably a bit too much actually. Move it across a fraction. That's it. That's good. So that's now winding nicely. Cut the thread. And what I'm going to do, before I put the bobbin case in the machine, I'm just going to try the tension. That's about right. Not too much, not too little, just enough to grab the thread. I'm going to put a drop of oil where the bobbin case will sit. No more than a drop. Just check all the fluff is out from under there, which it is. And we'll install the bobbin case. There's a little bit of fluff there, just noticed. Get hold of that. That's good. Good. Drop the bobbin case in. There's a little finger here which comes across the bobbin case and just stops it jumping out, a little black finger. Now, you'll notice now there is no gap around that bobbin case. It's dead tight in there. But although the machine will run, it won't sew, because without a gap the thread can't come around and through over the top of the bobbin. It's all easy fix for this. You just have to undo the screws, holding down this little finger here. There's 2 screws there. Just loosen them off. Don't go too mad, you don't need to. And there's one here on the left at the front. And then we can move this gently, and now you can see that's tapping and moving. So it's not totally loose where it's going to cause problems, but there's enough gap in there to let the thread go across and come out again. It will make the machine a little bit noisier once it's ticking, but it'll give that sewing machine ticking noise, which is a normal noise. If I'd have left it as it was and threaded the machine up to sew, it just wouldn't have sewed, it would have jammed up, caused all sorts of problems. So that's good now. I'm pretty sure the gap's going to be right, so that's why I can tighten these back up again. Just from experience really, if you have too much of a big gap this can jump out, but that's just about right. Just enough to let the thread come through. We can put the needle bar back on, the needle plate back on now. We can thread the needle bobbin into the bobbin case and get that all ready. And the only thing we've got to do now, because we've got no top tension unit, I'll strip that out, which goes in here. So I'll show you what we have to do with that. So we've got, that's a take up spring, check spring. These are two tension discs, so they sit together, not like that. They must, the two convex bits touch. And this finger goes at the top facing backwards. You then put the spring, fat bit of the spring at the back, thin bit of the spring at the front, and then you put it over this stud here, tension stud. And when it's loosely hanging like that, I normally bring this down, this spring, to about 6 o'clock, 5, 6 o'clock, and then engage it onto the machine, and then bring the spring up. And what that does, that tensions that spring, makes it spring downwards, because you want that to pull the thread down. It's called a check spring, so it checks the tension, doesn't let it get too sloppy. And then we put on the plus and minus dial, tension flange. This is the bit that gets pushed forward when you lift the foot up. That can get damaged in there and break, and if that's broken you need to get a new one. You can't sew with it like that, because you won't get any tension when you thread the machine up. Next thing is the beehive spring. Guess why it's called a beehive spring. And then we go, this here goes at the bottom, I do believe, yeah. So this little finger facing towards you at the bottom, not the top, and that is a little stop thing which stops it turning, so you can't go past 0 or past 9. And then you screw this on, fat side first, leave the thin bit because that goes into the number cap, the cover. All we do now is screw it on, but you've got to make sure it goes on straight. It's quite fiddly, like so. Don't put this back yet until we've sewn with it, because we've got to set the tension number, and you can't set the number until you know it's sewing okay. Right, next thing to do is thread the machine. So first thing, press a foot up, which opens up the tension discs. Foot down, they close. And then it threads through that guide, down between those two convex discs, through the check spring, around this here, it's called the take up lever. And then just through the thread guides here. There's one there, there's one at the top of the needle, and then we thread front to back. Needle goes in with a flat side at the back on these. And we can lift the foot up once it's threaded, take it down, bring it up, pulls your bottom thread up. Now I'm just going to, with the foot down, I'm just going to pull here and feel what sort of tension I've got. I'm trying to get the tension right first time. I've got no numbers to work with until I put the numbers on there, but I think that's going to be pretty close. Little bit of thread, bit of fabric. So now we're going to do a straight stitch first. So around about 2 to 3. A little bit longer. Check the reverse, it's working. And then we can check the stitch. Nice individual stitches. Top one's not quite an individual stitch, so what we need to do is either make it tighter on top, and we do that by tightening the bottom tension, but I was quite happy with that, so I'm going to loosen the top tension, so do the opposite. So again, now we've got, yep, good stitch top and bottom, and we're going to now do a zigzag, because the zigzag will show up your tensions a bit better. We've got a nice V on the top, a nice V on the bottom. Just going to tweak that up a fraction. We'll do a shorter, narrower zigzag. That's nice. You can actually create a bit of a pattern on here if we do a very short stitch about there, and then start on the straight stitch, and then you can actually move it left and right. A bit faster. And just create a bit of a pattern. That's about all you can do with this machine. And then we'll just try we've got a 4-step buttonhole on this as well, which we've got to mention. So if we go to step number 1, there's the wide band. Number 2 comes down the right hand side. Number 3, there's the band at the bottom, just a couple of stitches. Number 4 goes back. Look up there. So that's a nice buttonhole, actually, very nice buttonhole. So there's our straight stitch, there's our zigzag, narrow zigzag. That's the little pattern I created just by moving this back and forwards on a short stitch. And there's the buttonhole. It's a very nice buttonhole. I'm not normally very good at buttonholes, but that's quite a nice one. That's it really. Machine's service. Now we can do this. We can put this back on. I'm going to put it onto number 5 at the top. So that's set now. So this can be turned down to 0 and it stops. You can go up to 9 and it stops, but you never need to go to 9. So most things on 5. That's pretty much it, I think. Just give it a little wipe over just to clean it up a bit. Clean a bit of cloth. Hope you've enjoyed watching this video. wreck the joint. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. It started off where we had to repair the foot control because the capacitor had gone, so now showing you how to do that if that happens to your machine. But it's not just this machine, a lot of the older machines that all have capacitors in the foot controls, and when it goes, makes the machine normally runs full speed, which is a bit distressing if it goes off while you're not in the room and you've got the thing threaded up. It can get really tangled. I've had them in before where it's broken gears because it's just run off full speed, got tangled, nobody was in the room, it just got worse and worse until the thing just broke the gears and stopped it working, just jammed the whole thing up really. So, but it can't be helped, there's no warning it's going to happen, it just happens. But don't panic, unplug it, make sure you've got no power, take the foot control apart and remove that capacitor. Sometimes there'll be screws so you don't have to cut it, you just unscrew it. That's there. We'll put one of our stickers on just to show when it was done, or more importantly when it's due next. Service by SimPoint, next service due August 2026. That's in a year's time. And that's it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please comment. If you've got any questions, comment. I don't get back very quickly because I'm busy, but when I see the comments I do reply. Can't always fix your machines for you without seeing a machine. I get a lot of questions, this so and so's wrong, how do I fix it? If it was that easy I wouldn't have a job. I can't diagnose stuff without seeing it half the time. Common problems I can, but I had one today just saying my machine will only straight stitch, not zigzag. How do I fix it? Well, there's so many things that can happen to a machine to stop it zigzagging, from broken gears to just lack of lubrication. Lack of lubrication is the most common problem. The zigzags work on a push and spring return, and if it's a bit seized up, the spring's not good enough to return it, so in the end it just carries on going straight. The needle gets pushed across and can't spring back. Anyway, I'm waffling now, so I should stop waffling. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you on the next one if you want to watch the next one being done. Have a great day. Thank you for watching.